Help me reach 1,000 subscribes. Support the video with a like and leave your thoughts in the comments. I read every comment. Thanks. The week before my wedding was supposed to feel unreal in a good way. Final fittings, last-minute calls. That quiet excitement people talk about when everything is finally falling into place. Instead, it felt heavy, like I was walking through my days with a knot in my chest I couldn't explain. My name is James. I'm 34, work in logistics, live a simple, structured life. I don't believe in drama. I believe in planning, showing up, and doing right by the people you commit to. That's how I loved Elizabeth. We'd been together for 4 years. She was sharp, articulate, the kind of woman who could walk into a room and immediately command it without raising her voice. She worked in marketing, thrived on deadlines, loved color-coded calendars. When she said yes to my proposal, I believed I was the luckiest man alive. Not because she was perfect, but because she chose me. Or so I thought. The cracks were subtle at first. She started staying later at work. Her phone was always face down. When I asked how her day went, her answers got shorter. I told myself it was wedding stress. Everyone says the weeks before a wedding are chaotic. I leaned into being supportive. I handled vendors, paid deposits, reassured her whenever she seemed distant. I kept telling myself this was temporary. 3 days before the bachelor dinner my best friend Mark had organized, Elizabeth said her car was acting up again. She joked about it, rolling her eyes, saying she might need a miracle to get it through the week. Mark overheard and offered to give her a ride whenever she needed one. Mark had been my closest friend since college. We'd shared apartments, breakups, job losses. I trusted him without hesitation. If the story were about jealousy, it would have ended there. But it wasn't. It was about instincts I ignored because they were inconvenient. On Tuesday afternoon, I left work early to surprise Elizabeth with her favorite takeout. She'd had a long week, and I wanted to do something small but thoughtful. When I pulled into our apartment complex, I noticed Mark's car parked near the back, not in his usual spot. I didn't think much of it until I realized Elizabeth's car wasn't there. I parked and walked toward the building, then stopped. Mark's car windows were fogged. That alone shouldn't have meant anything. It was cold outside, but something about the stillness made me pause. I took a few steps closer, heart starting to pound for reasons I couldn't articulate. I wish I could tell you I knocked, that I announced myself. I didn't. I stood there frozen as shapes moved inside the car. Then the passenger door opened slightly, and I saw Elizabeth's hand. The ring I'd given her caught the light. I didn't hear laughter. I didn't hear panic. What I heard was familiarity, comfort, the kind that doesn't exist by accident. I stepped back before they noticed me. I walked away calmly, almost mechanically, like my body was protecting my mind from breaking too soon. I got into my car and drove. I don't remember where. I just remember gripping the steering wheel so hard my hands hurt. If this moment already feels heavy, take a second to like this story so it reaches people who might need to hear it. By the time I came home that evening, Elizabeth was there, acting normal. She asked about my day, kissed my cheek, told me Mark had helped her with errands. I nodded, said nothing. That night, lying beside her, listening to her breathe, I realized something terrifying. The truth wasn't loud. It was quiet practice and well-rehearsed. If you've ever ignored your instincts to keep the peace, comment below. You're not alone. I didn't sleep much. I kept replaying the image of her hand on that door, the way nothing about it looked rushed or guilty. By morning, one thing was clear. Whatever I thought my life was about to be, it wasn't real anymore. Before moving on, type the word clarity in the comments if you believe truth always surfaces eventually. I got dressed, grabbed my keys, and made a decision that would change everything. I didn't confront Elizabeth right away. That surprised even me. I went to work, sat through meetings, answered emails, nodded at jokes I didn't hear. On the outside, nothing changed. On the inside, I was watching everything differently, like a man who just realized the floor beneath him was cracked. I wasn't angry yet. I was observant, and that calm scared me more than rage ever could. That evening, I told Elizabeth the first had a late delivery inspection and wouldn't be home until after dinner. She didn't question it. She barely looked up from her phone. I drove instead to Mark's place. I didn't plan a speech. I didn't rehearse accusations. I just needed to see his face. When he opened the door, he smiled. That smile vanished the moment he saw me. We stood there in silence for a few seconds that felt longer than our entire friendship. I asked him one question, quietly. How long? He exhaled like a man relieved. He didn't have to lie anymore. He said it started a few months ago. Said it wasn't supposed to happen. Said they were going to tell me after the wedding because they didn't want to ruin it. That was the moment something hardened inside me. Not shattered. Hardened. I thanked him for his honesty, turned around, and left. He didn't follow me. He didn't need to. Some endings don't require witnesses. On the drive home, I realized how carefully my life had been staged. The late nights, the short answers, the borrowed car. None of it was random. I wasn't unlucky. I was uninformed. When I walked into the apartment, Elizabeth was setting the table like nothing was wrong. She smiled and asked if I was hungry. I told her we needed to talk. She froze for half a second. That was all I needed. I told her what I saw. I told her I spoke to Mark. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't insult her. I just stated facts. She cried. She apologized. She said she was confused, that it didn't mean anything, that she still wanted to marry me. The words felt rehearsed, like lines she practiced in case this day came. I listened. Then I told her the wedding was off. Not postponed. Off. I told her she had 48 hours to pack her things and arrange somewhere else to stay. She asked if we could fix it. I said no, because trust isn't something you rebuild under pressure. It's something you protect or you lose forever. If you believe boundaries matter more than apologies, share this story with someone who might need that reminder. The next few days were a blur of logistics. Calling vendors, explaining to family, canceling plans I'd once been excited about. Every call hurt, but each one also made me lighter, like I was removing weight I didn't realize I'd been carrying. Elizabeth moved out quietly. She didn't argue. I think part of her knew there was nothing left to negotiate. Mark sent a long message apologizing, asking if we could talk someday. I didn't reply. Some conversations end without closure, and that's still a complete sentence. The morning of what would have been my wedding day, I woke up alone. No suit hanging by the door. No schedule taped to the fridge. Just silence. I made coffee and sat by the window, watching the city wake up. For the first time in weeks, my chest didn't feel tight. I won't pretend it didn't hurt. It did. Losing the future, I thought I had hurt deeply. But losing it before it became a lie was a gift I didn't fully understand yet. In the comments, do you think walking away early is strength or fear? Let's talk about it. A month later, I ran into a mutual friend who told me Elizabeth and Mark were trying to make things work. The news didn't sting the way I expected. It felt distant, like hearing about strangers. That's when I knew I'd made the right decision. I didn't lose a fiancé and a best friend. I lost illusions. And what I gained was clarity, self-respect, and a life that belonged to me again. If this story resonated with you, like this video, comment with one lesson you took from it, and subscribe for more stories about trust, betrayal, and choosing yourself before it's too late. That was the week before my wedding. And the week I finally stopped lying to myself.